everybody. Thanks for joining us today for our webinar, Beyond the Hype, How to Measure the True Impact of AI Code Assistants like GitHub Copilot. Today we'll have Soumya and Aruna hosting this webinar session. And just before I hand it off, just a few quick housekeeping items. We will be recording this webinar, so if you have a drop off early or anything, not a problem. We'll be sharing the full recording with everyone after this session. And if you have any questions during this webinar, feel free to drop them in the Q&A section of this of Zoom webinar. Other than that, I think we're ready to go. Take it away, Aruna.
Thanks, Aditi. Hello, everyone. This is Aruna here. I'm a product owner at for Unified Insights at Opsera, and I have Soumya with me as well.
Hey, hi all. Good morning, good evening. This is Soumya, and I'm a technical product manager at Opsera, taking care of the overall Opsera platform and the SDLC part of it. And yeah, nice meeting you all.
Right. So with that, thanks, Soumya. So with that, I'll get started. So today, in fact, I'm excited. I'm pretty excited to talk about Copilot Insights. Because gone are the days where we were trying to build something based out of just Copilot data. And right now at Opsera, we've gone just another step further to create a powerful tool that's designed to give you full visibility into how your team leverages GitHub Copilot. It's no longer about tracking just the usage metrics. It's also about unlocking actionable insights to drive the adoption of productivity, and also to ensure that your code quality and security are maintained at the par, and to ensure that there are no defect leaks and security vulnerability leaks happening as well. So let's dive deep into why this matters and how you will be able to measure this using Opsera Insights. Yeah. So first, let's see why it matters measuring Copilot and other inner loop and outer loop metrics, right? So here, with the Copilot Insights dashboard that we offer in Opsera, you get to view a unified view of all the Copilot related metrics, including the adoption, usage trends, and including ROI as well. And there is no more guessing or fragmented data that you have over there. So you'll have everything in one place. So you don't have to scramble around tracking multiple different places, multiple different dashboards. So everything falls under one roof. For example, if you want to spot teams that are fully onboarded versus if you want to try to identify the teams that are lagging behind with respect to adoption, so that you will be able to tailor your support accordingly. So those kind of decisions can be made by taking a look into the dashboards and measuring the right metrics that is needed. And the other thing is that I want to highlight is identifying gaps in the AI tool adoption. So it's not the identifying gaps as in processes, but within the AI tool adoption itself. How do you identify the gaps, and how do you ensure that your team is utilizing the utilizing the code assistance productively, right? So for instance, if a team's Copilot usage isn't translating into faster PR cycles, so we can start investigating why is it still taking longer time to translate your code commits into PR when you have tools like AI code assistants like GitHub Copilot. Excuse me. And next is so data-driven decisions are really important. So that's what leads to measurable improvements. Say, for example, you can have targeted training that is planned for underutilized team, right? So underutilized team as in your teams that are not able to use the Copilot licenses or not able to adopt to Copilot Code AI assistance. So, and this is something that I also highlighted that I wanted to bring up here as well. I highlighted in one of our previous webinars, if you remember, Soumya. So on the leadership insights, right? So there are other teams that can internally take the best practices followed by teams and that have a higher utilization rate. So, and the underperforming or least utilized teams of Copilot can try to get the best practices out of the high performing teams as well. So within the organization, they can create a peer support to understand how effectively they are using the Copilot in order to gain the maximum productivity. So teams can help other teams internally as well. So here's where the excitement begins, right? So what Opsera offers, right? So as a part of Copilot Insights is first things is the adopter's advantage. So you'll be able to precisely track who's using Copilot, how often, right? And how effectively. See, for example, some engineers, they are accepting Copilot suggestions at a high rate, or sometimes they are also struggling with relevance as well. So you will be able to see where exactly which programming language is effectively used, and which programming language is lagging with respect to the adoption. So, and the next one is productivity unleashed. So you can have your productivity unleashed. You can have benchmarks set. So as a part of our Copilot Insights dashboard itself, we have brought in the after talking to various industries, we've gotten the industry benchmarks, and we have factored that into the Copilot dashboard itself, so that you will be able to have that as a benchmark and see how your teams are progressing towards the industry standards as well. Say, for example, hey, Team Python, it's great to see you adopting, you and your team adopting with flying colors, but what about Java? Why is it not working out for Java? What can we do? What can we do to bring them back to the same rate? So you will be able to answer such questions and make some actionable decisions in order to bring the necessary support for other teams to bring up the adoption percentage or the productivity percentage indirectly as well. And lastly, a code flow uninterrupted. So proactively, you will be able to catch slowdowns, as I mentioned previously, right? So why is my PR cycles taking a longer time? When I have Copilot, it's supposed to increase my PR cycles, reduce the time that it takes to generate PRs, right? So why is it slowing down, right? So you will be able to catch process gaps and drops within, and you will be, through alerts, you will be able to identify those ahead of time so that you can make right decisions, or you can try to talk through the team to see what's going wrong. Okay, so now let's see how this adoption, let's dig deeper into this adoption, right? So let's see how the team stacks it up, right? Compare your team's Copilot usage against industry benchmarks. So are you ahead of the curve, or do you need to do something, or is there any more room for you to grow? So all this is like, it depends on your organization size as well. So if you have an organization of 500, and out of which you have 200 licenses, Copilot licenses enabled, then are the 200 licenses getting utilized at the max, or is there still room to grow? Or if you enable the licenses, more licenses for the remaining 300 users, will you still be able to get maximum out of it? So those kind of decisions is something that you'll be able to measure, and also you will be able to try to talk to the team and make some informed decisions. And the next is, there's a very interesting problem that I also want to talk about, is the license graveyard problem. So using Opsera Insights, you'll also be able to see what are the number of zombie licenses that are there. And based on that, you can decide whether you want to keep those licenses. Why are the people not contributing if when they have so many licenses? Is there going to be a cost saving with respect to revoking those licenses as well? So all that can be decided as a part of these insights that we provide. And next is prove ROI with hard numbers. So not just, as I said, we don't stop at just providing Copilot usage metrics, adoption metrics. So we go one step ahead. We do track the PR cycle time. We help you decide. We help you measure your code volume, how many lines of code gets into the code repositories, and reduce the boilerplate work. So if, for example, Copilot is able to reduce 2 hours per week, right, of repetitive tasks. If you have a set of repetitive tasks that you're doing, and Copilot is able to reduce that 2 hours per week, then that's like pretty much 100+ hours every year, right? Per engineer that I'm talking about. So when you can save so much of time, then obviously you're going to save so much of dollar value as well. And we do have one of our customers as well, existing customers, whom we've seen, they were able to cut the PR review time itself by 15%. So right now, not just they increase, they have seen the improved PR cycles, but also the PR review time as well is taking a very significantly less amount of time. And you can also, another best way that you can increase the adoption is you can amplify your top performers hacks as well. So you can say that, okay, hey, this team has done really exceptionally well with respect to adoption. So can we see what best they are doing? What are the steps that they're following? Or how do they turn their productivity into dollar values, so that other teams can also follow the same thing. So you can create some small individual wins within the teams, healthy role competitions as well, so that you can improve the adoption with respect to the individual teams. And you can also track at the language level, you can also track the specific insights. And like, for example, Python, as I said, Python might see a 40% of increase in the developer productivity, where Java might be lagging. So you can try to identify whether is it a problem with the model that we are using? Is it a problem with the developer not able to get the right prompt and get the suggestions and acceptances in the right way that they're expecting? So those kind of training, dedicated focus training for specific teams will be easy to decide or determine based on these metrics. So as I continue, so I like to also talk about, like, right now we talked about the Copilot, the adoption usage metrics that Copilot offers. And then we talked about the PR cycles, the commits, the time taken it to review. So we covered pretty much what happens from the generating a Copilot suggestion and accepting it, and what happens after it goes into the code repository, right? So right now, what I'm going to focus on is what happens after that. So a general or a common phenomenon that people think is that Copilot should reduce the vulnerabilities that goes into my code repositories. It should give me more secure code, rather than a developer or an engineer trying to code everything from scratch by himself. So that is the bare minimum expectation from these AI code assistants, right? So we help you. Opsera Insights provides that capability as well. So that's something that Samya is going to share today as a part of the demo. So we'll be able to see how we can detect the vulnerabilities in the AI suggested code, and we'll also be able to, like, measure what are the defects that gets leaked, and how many gets resolved on time, and whether we are keeping our quality standards and security standards at par, so that and also ensure that it goes the trend on the vulnerabilities getting identified and the defects getting identified is reducing significantly after this code AI adoption is improving or increasing, right? So that's something that you will be able to see as a part of the demo as well. And we also, and I briefly touched upon the ROI fact as well. So I'll just quickly walk through what we have here. Before that, maybe Aditi, you want to, like,
Yes.
run a poll?
We'd love to run a poll before we get into these charts. You can all see here, we just wanted to know, how many developers do you have in your organization currently? Here you can see, share the results over here. Seems like we've got a lot of people with some smaller developer teams, but we've got some people with bigger ones as well.
Okay, so yeah, the reason why I wanted this poll is to understand, like, how many what's an average size of the organizations that we are looking at. So we have at Opsera, we have seen an org size of 500, org size of which has Copilot licenses from about like 150 plus and goes up to 35,000 as well. So we have both ends. And here, what you see right now is what you see here is using the Copilot insights that Opsera offers, and also with GitHub Advanced Security integration as well. We'll be able to generate a white paper, which gives you exactly like it takes into account what is the time to PR, what are the productivity gains with respect to like at every programming language, split across every programming languages, and measuring it at an organization level as well. And based on your acceptance rate of the number of lines of code suggested, and based on the annual savings as well. So adding all these independent metrics, independent values, we'll be able to generate a white paper for you to measure your ROI. So what percentage of, or what dollar amount are you saving with respect to like enabling the Code AI assistance? And how much of, what amount of money are you saving with GitHub Advanced, enabling security tools like GitHub Advanced Security, or it can be any static code analysis tools or any security vulnerability tools that you're measuring, right, across your ecosystem, organization's ecosystem. So any of those, we will be able to integrate with them and determine after enabling these Code AI assistants, so what percentage of your dollar value has been saved by preventing secrets or preventing vulnerabilities from getting into your code repositories. So that's also something that you can see in detail as a part of the demo as well. And yeah, so that's how like we measure the productivity gains. And for like I can give you a real-time example as well. So for an organization size of 500, we noticed, we were able to measure a year end of year savings that can be around 2.5 to 2.7 million, with an increase in 10% of productivity. And with GAS integration, with GitHub Advanced Security integration, there can be a significant cost that gets avoided on the security vulnerabilities, and also the qualities and the sensitive secrets that gets committed into the code repositories, right? So the cost the cost that you might have to pay when these vulnerabilities and secrets gets exposed is completely prevented because of that. So yeah, so with connectivity to all the relevant tools, you should be able to have this white paper as a part of the Opsera portal, Copilot Insights, generated in few minutes to a couple of hours from the time of onboarding. So with that, I'm just going to stop the brief about the Copilot Insights, and I'm just going to quickly hand it over to Soumya for the demo.
Thank you so much, Aruna. Thanks for the teaser. So yeah, before we get into this, right, I wanted to quickly, flash the leadership dashboard. I know you would have, for folks who attended the previous webinar, also, listen to the webinar recording. This is something that we discussed, pretty detailed last time. And I know most of you would have been wondering, okay, where are we getting this Copilot information from? And yeah, that's the detail that we're going to go in today. So all of Aruna's, great tidbits, we're going to see that across, a live working dashboard here. So yeah, with Copilot dashboard that you see here, okay, so there are, multiple aspects that we want to, show here. One is with respect to your adoption, your everyday developer usage, and then your impact. We also can, deep dive into productivity. So these are some aspects, that we want to cover. And what I'm going to show you is how we're going to correlate some of these, that will help you with understanding your Copilot productivity. How it actually, impacts your, developer experience. Does it actually make your developer happy? So these are the, questions probably you'll get an answer towards the end of the webinar. So with adoption, yes. So this gives you a quick glimpse of, what is the overall Copilot allocated licenses for your organization and how many licenses are actually used, in a given period of time. So see, all of these KPIs, you can, have a look at it at a, at a weekly and a daily view. So here over the, trend, you'll be able to see the allocated licenses and license usage across different weeks, across different days. One thing I wanted to highlight here is currently, this data is coming, from, it's provided by GitHub at real time. So this comes from their billing information. And anytime you pull the data, you'll be able to see only, the latest or the data as of today. But this is where Opsera steps in, right? We start showing you the trend, because this gives you, you get an allocated, you get a license usage today. But tomorrow you get the same license usage for, the next day. But are you able to actually understand, the zombie licenses that, Aruna mentioned about, right? You have paid for 23 licenses in this case, right? But only 16 are using. This is a smaller number, but look at organizations, just like Aruna mentioned, where we have 35,000 licenses, 30,000 licenses. They've allocated 30,000 licenses, but probably only 15,000 is used. Why would I even pay for the next 15,000 licenses over a period of time, right? Probably you can leave it for 3 months. And, it's high time that we have to really look at why am I paying, additional licenses, amount for the additional licenses. And not just that, right? You can also try to delve in detail with your developers to understand why are these licenses not used? Probably they just installed it and they're not using it. Maybe it's not, really helping them as part of their coding language. So those are aspects that you can identify, and not just with adoption. That is where I'm going to show you, a few other KPIs where you can actually try to drill down into that specific pain point and see, what's the improvement that you can bring into your developers. And with the licenses, you can also look at your overall developer activity. Okay, so this kind of, gives you a glimpse of how many developers are actually active, right, across a period of time. We also give you a distinction of the ID users and your chat users. So you can see, the difference, because a lot of the organizations have been, coming back asking for, what if, I'm using the chat for utilizing the test cases? What if I'm using it for documentation purposes? How am I even going to understand, get that productivity? And that's where, you can actually see, okay, if the chat users are, kind of consistent, are they increasing? Are they decreasing? So here you'll be able to see, from the overall, active users. Obviously, ID users are more, yes, because predominantly 80% they use it for the coding activity. But this gives you an understanding if chat is also used predominantly for your organizations. And here, this is where we want to highlight the heat map view. So yeah, let's say you have a 2-week sprint, right? Probably your developers might not be, actively engaged with Copilot, across the 2 weeks, right? So coming back to the line chat, you might see, there is a, dip, and, there is an increase in the number of users. And this gives you a picture of why is that happening. Maybe, okay, they're actively, they're very busy with Copilot during, the middle part of the sprint, which is like, after they're done with the investigation, after they know everything about the user story. And that's when they want to actually, okay, I need this to happen, right? They start asking questions to Copilot. So that's the pattern that you can actually identify with respect, with the help of this heat map. You can see, similar patterns that is falling across, each of the sprints. You can see that, probably Monday to Thursday, they're very busy, right? Of course, Fridays and, maybe, the weekends are not used. So this gives you a quick picture to even, take it back to your leadership, tell them, okay, it is actively used, and this is exactly where they are, grabbing the all the support from Copilot. So this gives you a detailed glimpse, and you can also correlate this with the impact chart. So the impact chart that you see here, we offer 3 different flavors. One is, you get a trend of the actual suggestions provided by Copilot with respect to the acceptances, right? So here the suggestion and acceptance. Here, it means a block of code, right? You ask for a prompt, and then Copilot provides you a good chunk of code, and that's the overall suggestion or the acceptance that you see here. And probably, the chunk of code has 20 lines of code, but your developer is just picking 15. That is where you'll see the lines of code, suggested to accept it. Out of the 20 lines, probably just 15 has been accepted. Yes, you can see that trend over here, right? And this gives you the overall, commit lines, that is the overall lines of code that has gone into your repositories, and that is in comparison to your Copilot lines of code, how many lines of code that is actually, accepted from Copilot. So we give you the 3 different flavors. What we also, add additionally is, yeah, probably I want to understand more on where, there is more impact, which editor is it actually impacting. So you can filter out all of this data, at an editor level. You can see different editors, and at a language level as well, right? You probably want to specifically understand, for React or, for JavaScript, what is the actual lines of code that is gotten. Yes, you can select the language and you'll be able to see the data, filtered. And we also show you the models. So, I want to touch upon a little bit about the Copilot models. I know Copilot started with, the OpenAI, which was the default model. But as and when the adoption grew across multiple organizations, across different markets, of course, you start using Copilot for your legacy projects, for projects that has been long running. Yes, that is where, there was a lot of feedback, there was a lot of input from, multiple, market giants, where they said, okay, probably this is not the model that is helping us, with the right data for, these languages. And then Copilot introduced a lot of fine-tuned models, right? So which is very, very, you can pick those fine-tuned models and you can use it across languages like C, C++, and, and that is when, we also brought in this model filter, where you can actually filter out and see which model is providing you, the maximum impact, right? Where maximum suggestions and of course maximum acceptances have gone in. Again, the lines of code that has gone in, more as well. So you can drill down to that level. I will also show a different view of, how you can look at the model specific data. But with respect to impact, yes, you can filter out your impact with editors, languages, and models. And moving on, so you saw the overall, lines of code that is suggested, overall suggestions and acceptances. But what is the rate, right? So generally, every market, yeah, we tend to have a specific goal or a benchmark that, you want to, achieve, or you want your teams to, traverse through. So that's where the acceptance rate and the suggestion retention rate comes into picture. So here you can see that the 35% goal and the 25% goal, the benchmarking that Aruna mentioned, during her teaser, that is where very specifically, you'll be able to, see, what is the acceptance rate. So 35%, the goal is something that we've derived out of multiple customer conversations and, market standards. That's very specifically for acceptance rate. And the acceptance rate that you see here is a rate, between your overall acceptances and your suggestions. And the suggestion retention rate, we have a goal of 25%. This is again comparing your lines of code that has been suggested and the lines of code that is accepted. So these two benchmark are pretty much, that has been derived out of, like, various conversations. And this seems to be, also resonating with a lot of our customers. So that's something that I want to highlight here. And yeah, with this, before I get into the reliability part, I would want to show you, the developer usage. So all the data that you saw on the impact, we also show you a different view here. You see your Copilot, where Copilot is used more with respect to a programming language editor, and also, the models that is used in code completion, and also chat models. So here you can see all the languages where, Copilot is used, right? And where, so if you hover, you'll be able to see what is the line suggested and what is the line accepted. So that's the percentage that you see on the right side. And you get the same information with respect to the editors. And this is where I was mentioning about the code completion model. So all the different models, if your organization is using, everything will be listed here, and you'll be able to see, which is more productive with respect to, helping your developers. Similarly, the chat models as well. So the OpenAI chat model, is a default model that we want to show you. But you can also see what is the overall copy events and the insertion events that is gone in, right, with respect to the model. So this is another view, again, a more detailed view of what you saw on, from the impact chart. So with that, I will also move on to the productivity. Okay, so you've been using Copilot for 3 months, 4 months, but the next question that keeps coming up across your organization is, what is the productivity? Is it really helping my developers, right? Is it really improving the developer productivity? Yes, we have an answer for that. And this is where our developer productivity report comes into picture. So you can track your Copilot productivity gains across, months, where you can actually look at a more granular level of data with respect to your languages. So, the languages that you see here are listed basically based on your, the organization. For each of the organization, whatever the languages that is being used across the repositories, all of them would be listed here. And here we give you a quick view of, the overall developer count and developers with Copilot licenses at each language. And then, yeah, we give you the overall Copilot suggested and accepted lines of code. And of course, the suggestion rate and acceptance rate. And then we come up with the Copilot productivity. So the Copilot productivity that you see here, yeah, it's basically, yeah, you compares your, the lines that is written by your developers in comparison to the lines that is actually, written or provided by your AI code assistants, your GitHub Copilot in this case. So we actually look at your overall lines written, and we, compare to your Copilot accepted lines, and that's when the Copilot productivity comes. So here I want to share, a very specific use case, by one of our a marquee customer, where, there was they've been using it, for a few months, and consistently they saw that, the productivity for a particular language was kind of very low. And it was low, and they thought, okay, probably it's going to improve over time. And after a couple of months, looks like they reached out to their developer community, and they understood that, okay, probably they're not getting the right prompts that they need. And that productivity percentage is something that, they started tracking in the developer productivity gains of Opsera's dashboard. And they reached out back to, GitHub to understand why is, Copilot probably not giving us, the right information with respect to this language. And yes, there were fine-tuned models that got launched post. And, folks, you won't believe, from a very meager percentage of 0.15 to, 1%, they drastically jumped to 20% in the next, in a span of the next 2 months. And that is, again, one of the legacy languages. And the moment it worked, for a particular organization, they've rolled out that fine-tuned model across their organizations, and they're able to, kind of increase the developer happiness, specifically who are working on that particular language. So that's something that I want to specifically highlight here. And the developer productivity, yes, here we look at, some baseline information, like probably 100 lines of code per developer per day. And yeah, you have like 20 working days in a month. So we just compare, and we want to, we provide you the developer productivity. Right. So this is how the developer productivity gets calculated. So we look at your overall Copilot accepted lines, and then, yeah, we compare it with a baseline. Again, this line of code 100, just like our other goals, it's predominantly like a benchmark, that we've derived. But yeah, it can vary according to your, your organizational needs. Probably want to increase or decrease it. Yes, you can do that as well. And yeah, and based on this, your elite, high, medium, low, and all of this elite, high, medium, low, how you want to set the baseline benchmark, it is all configurable. Yeah, you can actually configure it. Probably, you're at the very nascent stage, you want to keep it pretty low. Yes, you can do that. And if you want to increase it, yes, you can, kind of increase it as and when your Copilot adoption is kind of increasing. And I will also quickly, give you a glimpse of how that works. Yeah, here you can go and configure, and this gives you, it's easier for you to help your teams adopt Copilot and understand the impact, as they grow with, multiple, more licenses. So pretty much, we've covered, your productivity and all. So what's next again, right? So reliability. So you want to start measuring your security and your quality. You want to start correlating that, with your Copilot data. That's where, your integration into your GAS or your Jira, your SonarQube comes into picture. So here, what we do is, your security dashboard and your quality dashboard, you start looking at the number of vulnerabilities that is being, there is a dip in the number of vulnerabilities that is being produced after the usage of Copilot. That's the correlation we want to show here. By, here we've connected with GitHub Advanced Security Dashboard. Yeah, but we can connect to, pretty much any other security tool to compare and show this data. Of course, SonarQube as well. And here, with respect to quality, we connect to Jira again. Look at your SonarQube bugs to see how is your quality posture doing, right? You can, comparing to the usage of Copilot, is as your quality improved, right, over the time, is Copilot actually helping in giving you more bug-free, code, and your features are like very, very nice and smooth. So that's the kind of analysis and correlation that we want to show here. So what you see here is, very, very specific in comparison with Copilot, the security and quality. Of course, just like, Opsra's other dashboards, we do have a very, very detailed security, application security posture and application quality posture dashboard. If you guys want, just drop a comment. Probably we can, connect with you individually to go over some of them as well. So these are, the key KPIs that we wanted to highlight. And on top of all of this, right, at the end, is it really helping me? Again, just like your security and your quality metrics, is Copilot helping my developers, in the time that is taken to get the PR out, right? Or is it really helping them in the cycle time, making it faster, helping in the lead time for changes? So this is the analysis that, Opsra, where it's a very niche feature with respect to Opsra's Copilot dashboard. We look at Copilot versus non-Copilot information here. So you can see that the time to PR and the cycle time, the lead time for changes, you can see that it's 15% faster than the previous 90 days. So since we've selected as 90 days, we compare to the the previous period. You can see the cycle time is actually faster, compared to the previous period. And lead time for changes, it's gotten slower, but yeah, this is where you will start analyzing why this is happening, and that is where a Hummingbird AI is going to come into picture. I'm going to cover that in the next couple of minutes. So here we compare the Copilot versus non-Copilot users data with respect to your time to PR, cycle time, and LTFC, and you will be able to see the difference over here. If the time to PR is actually reduced, and this is also where you'll be able to compare your teams, right? Just like what we saw in the leadership dashboard, at a more granular level, you'll be able to see, okay, this team, okay, is using Copilot. Probably this team is not using Copilot. You can have multiple dashboards created, start looking at it. Again, it's not purely for comparison purpose. Probably you can try to understand if, that's really adding value to your developer productivity, and it is helping them, in their developer experience journey. So that's the analysis that you'll be able to see with this. We also have the activity where it gives you a glimpse of, how many PRs got opened, how many PRs got merged, and the overall total commits by using Copilot, and by not using Copilot. So these are some of the key data that we want to highlight. And all of this data, team, it's going to form as the base for the Hummingbird AI analysis. So Aruna did mention about the white paper, right? So Opsra offers a 14-day free trial, like no strings attached. You can just connect to your GitHub Copilot, and you'll be able to see all of this data flowing in. At the moment you connect, you'll be able to see the last 28 days of impact data. And as and when like probably in a couple of days, you'll be able to see all of the PR, your commit data as well. And with all of this data, okay, what am I getting? What is my key takeaway? So here you can see, what is the overall acceptance rates, Copilot suggested lines, and what is the actionable insight that you can take. Okay, this is with respect to your overall utilization and impact. And you can also see the efficiency and the productivity metrics. Okay, so what is the the current period, previous period, and what is the impact that it's showing? This is where you will start looking at your your ROI, your savings, what is the time savings that the team is bringing, and how much you're actually taking to the bank, right? So all of this analysis will be here. This gives you a quick analysis through Apsara's Hummingbird AI on the dashboard. But as I mentioned, as part of the white paper, you get a detailed analysis of your dollar value, what is your payback, right? You've invested so much on Copilot, and what is the payback that you're getting? And what I want to also highlight is Yeah, what I want to highlight here again is with respect to the white paper data, we also this is all with respect to Copilot. But let's say you are also using GitHub Advanced Security, right? As part of the reliability metrics that I showed. What is the cost saving, that will provide you using Copilot and GAS together? So all of those is available in the white paper. Reach out to us, for the free trial. As part of the free trial, we'll also offer you the white paper, and yes, so that's all available. And yeah, I know that's pretty much that I wanted to cover.
We do have one question that I wanted to ask. With AI pair programming, do you have capabilities to measure reliability of the code from quality and security aspect?
Yes, yeah. So yeah, the last part that I covered as part of the demo. Yes, so we can integrate to your Jira, your SonarQube, your gas, metrics. You'll be able to understand your your quality data. That is, if Copilot is having an impact, how is your quality posture, security posture coming along after using Copilot? Yes, we do have. And yes, I think I did show that at a high level as part of the demo.
We have another question here. How do you measure the productivity using Copilot? Do you have metrics to compare Copilot versus non-Copilot users' productivity?
Yes. So the productivity gains chart that I showed, right? So that gives you a glimpse of language, productivity at a language level. It also shows you the percentage of Copilot productivity and the developer productivity. And as part of the code base activity that we have, we also show you a glimpse of the comparison between a Copilot and a non-Copilot user, user's productivity. So that is also available within Opsera. On top of it, so all of this, I think, the view that I showed was pretty much with GitHub organizations and GitHub teams. But we also have integration into Workday HRMS system. So, you can disable the GitHub view. You can just go ahead and, see the same level of data at a hierarchy level view, at your VP, at your SVP level, at your supervisors level. You can also have a look at your, vendor level data. So that's another filter view, hierarchy filter that is available, where you can, analyze this data, because a lot of the organizations have their own internal hierarchy setup. So this helps them understand, for a particular team, how is the impact happening. So yeah, that is also available within Opsera.
Okay. Are there any more questions from anyone? Thank you so much for joining us today. And Aruna and Soumya, thank you so much.